I just gave an exorcism, a distance exorcism healing after work because I heard a friend of mine who I hadn't seen in a long time, this artist that would paint like surreal things. Pretty successful artist, but I always felt he was painting his demons. So when my friend said one of our friends is suicidal, and I asked who, I kind of knew who it was. And so after a long day of healing people, I then did a distance exorcism healing because when someone's suicidal, it's entities talking to you, making you believe that it's your thoughts when it's not. Anyway, that's a subject for another video. So just basically, people are having serious clearings right now. Upgrades. What I'm going to talk about in this video is on Monday, I cleared sexual trauma from the age of 5. We really got to the core. This was a regular client who had been seeing me for about a year. 2-hour, usually deep tissue work. 2-hour sessions once a week. Big guy. Usually it's like wrestling a grizzly bear, physical, deep tissue stuff. Started off with his knee and then became his leg or, going up his back. That changed the week before last. All of a sudden, it was energy in him. So we had peeled off layers. He had also been working on meditating quite regularly. And so when I connected with him the week before last, I hardly needed to use any deep tissue work at all. It was a lot of energy work. He had picked up a lot of energy, maybe because his field was becoming so clear. And I cleared so much energy out of him, all kinds of entities and crap. And at the end of it, there was a couple images that weren't cleared. A fox and a submarine he saw. I said, well, that must be really deep if it's a submarine. He said, I think I know what that is. And so there wasn't any time left. We'd already gone to 2.5 hours for that one. I said, well, we'll take care of it next time. I was washing my hands and he friggin' floated out of the room. And this is a big guy. And I saw from the corner of my eye, he was floating. And I said, you're floating. And he said, how did you know? And I'm like, because I saw you. He just like floated by. And so when he came on Monday, he said, I don't know how you're going to beat last week's healing because you cleared so much energy out of my legs. And so now he's like peeling off the onion layers, getting to the core root of trauma. Like when I do work, I do a combination of counseling, deep tissue, body work, and working with the connective tissue and energy work. And now exorcisms, entity removal. It's been a lot of that this year. So it was interesting to see the shift with this person where originally it was like wrestling a friggin' bear, every Monday. Start my week by wrestling a bear. It's shifted into energy work. When he came on Monday, it was like an instant enmeshment connection because he was open and ready to be cleared of his core trauma. When I touched on a certain place in his body, I would feel a place in my own body of where to touch on him. And it would be a spot like he would confirm, oh yeah, there's something there. And it was like that during the whole, I'll call it treatment rather than massage. So my body was constantly telling me where to go on him. And at one point, I touched his foot and he went, ooh. I was like, what, did that hurt? He said, no, I just had like an orgasmic feeling. And I said, I don't need to know that. See, I wasn't aware that we were clearing his sexual trauma at the time, at the age of 5. I just thought it was his kundalini that had awakened because he told me with all the meditating that he's been doing, that he started to feel aroused during meditation. And I told him that's your kundalini rising, and learn to bring it up to your heart and up to your crown chakra and you're going to be full of energy, and when you have sex, it'll be at a whole different level. So when I touched at his foot and he had an orgasmic feeling, I just said, I don't need to know that. That's, probably your kundalini. I wasn't aware we were clearing his sexual trauma. Because he came to say the submarine that came up in the last week, he was going to show his brother's friend a toy submarine, or he was going to show his brother a toy submarine. He was 5, but his older brother was 17 years old. So he opens the door to his brother's room to show his brother his toy, but his brother isn't there. It was a friend of his brother's who was about the same age. And then he doesn't remember anything, and he figures something must have happened. So I'm just like, doing my thing and reading energies, not even fully aware that I'm clearing this sexual trauma from his body. I touch on his leg at another point in the massage, and he said some cum just leaked out of my dick, and I was like, whoa, like I don't need to know that. Like this is really weird to me, because there's no sexual energy in the air. I do not tease in my body work massages. Like, it's just unacceptable. I would end the session immediately if it was someone else, but I know this client very well, and there's never any sex talk, and I wouldn't have known that if he wouldn't have told me. But at the end, I realized it was sexual trauma being cleared from his body. So at the end, now it's like way over 2 hours, because everything goes a lot slower with energy work. And I'm trying to end the massage before 3 hours. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes, 2 hours and a half. I start doing energy work, like just Reiki on his, like over his organs, by his liver and spleen. I move up to his head. I put my hands over here on him. And usually when I do Reiki, I see like purple jelly in the air. This time I didn't. So I was focusing more on the white light, and using certain techniques that I have, certain names of God, and calling in the white light, really. And at the end of my healings, I always go and check their feet. And this was the first time where his feet felt different. It felt like he was out of his body. So I grounded him. Then I went to wash my hands. He came out and I said, did you feel anything when I was, doing Reiki at your head? He said, I think I just died on your table. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, I died on your table. When you put your hands over here, like by my neck and clavicle, my stomach went all cold, and I went up to the light, and I thought I was walking on snow because it was all white, but I looked down and I could see feathers, the markings of feathers. And so that's when everything became clear, that I just cleared the whole sexual trauma event from his body. And at age 5, children are protected from having the memory of sexual traumatic events. That's why they don't remember them, because God takes you up to protect you. So the trauma is stored in the body, but not the mind. And it's pretty friggin' powerful. So that's the first time someone had a near-death experience on my table, and it was pretty beautiful. And it all ties into the pattern that I've been working with. Like, we've always been trying to figure out his pattern in adulthood is that he goes for women who cheat on him after many years. And I kept asking why. Like, why do you think you're attracted to the type of woman who would cheat on you? And he's like, I don't know. Like, they're people I've known a really long time, and they're like family to me. So all the puzzles come together, all the little pieces of the puzzle. Like, this is what happens when you keep at your healing and take off the onion layers and get to the core. Everything pieces together. In his eyes, he was abandoned by these women, but being cheated on is actually betrayal. And he felt that the women that he went for were family before he even became sexually involved with them. And when he opened the door to his brother's room, he was betrayed. And so that was family. He was betrayed by family. That's the connection right there. So people always go to recreate a trauma of some sort, just to have the hints, have these little clues to piece everything back together so that they can understand and let go of it and clear it. And once you connect the dots and witness the pattern for what it is, then the pattern stops. And that's how healing happens. And mind you, he also thought, because when he first started seeing me for the knee, the knee issue came from the ankle, because he had some screws in his ankle from an accident. And I said, when was the accident? The ankles, knees, hips is the support system. And I said this was after his wife cheated on him the first time he was going through the divorce or the breakup. I can't remember if they were married or if it was just a long relationship. And so I said, did you feel a lack of support by men because it's on the right ankle? He said, well, I always think I felt a lack of support from my father, but like he didn't even know that for sure, because he found out in adulthood that his mother had cheated on him and he was the only kid in the family that had a different father. So he just figured his father must have not loved him as much. But he only found that out in adulthood, like much later on. So I think it all boils back down to the brother betrayal. But it all ties in together. And also going for women who cheat on you. Men and women, we always go to marry a person that reminds us a little bit of our mother, if you're a guy, or father, if you're a girl. Not enough so that so that you realize it. It's a subconscious thing. Like if your mother was a nurse, you might marry a nurse. Or if your mother had long nails, you might marry someone with long nails. Only one thing. If they have more than one common trait with your mom, it's too much, you know? But so he could have also been going for women who cheated on him because his mother was a cheater. Who knows for sure, but it all ties together regardless. When like everything in your environment is a reflection of what is going on inside of you. And when you fully witness everything, and you peel off all the layers, that's when real healing happens, and you get to witness so that things get cleared finally. So I hope this experience sheds some light on someone for their healing. Have a good one. Bye.